Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell.
And tonight we are going to be having a nice little discussion here, a spoiler discussion of Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 6, titled Ignorance is Chris. Obviously, we have to get to our main topic of Peacemaker, but I just want to do a quick shout out to Alien Earth that I have been watching that I came to late because I was just kind of putting it out of my mind because in my mind I was like, well, the alien never really went to Earth, but that's exactly the stuff that I hate people in Star Wars talk like or in other things talk like. So I was like, all right, I'm going to give myself over to it. Once it ended, I was like, I'm going to start watching it. And I know that people have talked about the ending that it is kind of not necessarily a cliffhanger, but leaves things open.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have not gotten to that point yet, so I can't really speak to that. But so far, I really am enjoying the show. And I was saying to my friend, I was like, with oh, we can't support this many Star Wars shows, we can't support this many Marvel shows. What do we do? Take a show like this and actually market it. Like give it a 2 trailers and a TV spot, treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Put a 30-second spot for it, on a NBA game or something like that. Like this is the kind of show that I feel like it is such a high quality. It is like kind of mind blowing, both in the set design and like the cinematography and everything like that. It just feels so like premium. And I don't really know the numbers because it hasn't been on any of the charts that I keep track of or any of the stuff that I keep track of. But I just feel like more people would be watching it if they marketed these freaking shows. And I know that's been a common complaint with all streaming, not even just Disney and definitely not just even Hulu. But I'm really enjoying that show, and I'll probably give another update on it once I actually finish it, probably next week.
Yeah, I told you I watched the first episode, and
Yeah.
I just was not like grabbed by anything. I don't know like why. So I've been asking you like if it was good because it seemed like everybody loved it.
Yeah.
But I obviously want your opinion because we most of the time align on things. So maybe I'll give it another shot. I honestly like watching the first episode. Like I said, it just didn't really grab me, and I also just I know you just said it looks I did not think that first episode looked good at all.
Really?
Like I just thought it was like I was like, this is clearly like obviously like it's like okay, well it's CGI, but it's just I just didn't think like any of it really looked that good.
Oh wow.
Like,
You mean like even like
when they're like
the cityscapes and stuff?
Yeah, like it's I know like I'm getting very specific and they're literally like up there for like 2 seconds, but like when they're all on the roof and they're like working out or whatever they're doing,
yeah,
and there you see the ship like coming and like I'm like that just did not look good to me. And maybe it was I don't know, maybe I was just I was in a sort of mood or something where I was like that just looks like
I will
garbage,
say
but...
I did watch the first episode on my iPad.
Yeah,
and it is it's an iPad, so
yeah,
it looked good,
right.
but yeah, maybe I'll rewatch it. But I do see what you mean. That kind of felt like I talk about with Multiverse of Madness the roof, like it's the same roof set that they're on like 4 times in that movie. It did kind of feel like that. It felt like it's like, okay, we got to shoot this roof thing. All right, you have this corner of the stage that you can turn into this roof. It felt a little like generic in that moment. I will give you that.
I will say like you said, and what everybody's been saying is like the ending is kind of like open-ended and it still hasn't been renewed yet, so hopefully they can continue on. But
I feel like it would get renewed if like well, I mean, I think it could get renewed regardless, but I would be really shocked because I think that at the end of the day, if Noah Hawley puts his foot down at FX, they will give him another season. You know what I mean? It's like that guy has, whether it's Fargo or Legion, anything. I believe he worked on Preacher too, back in the day. Whatever, shows that guy gives FX for over a decade at this point. It's like, I want to finish my freaking Alien show that you gave me. Right. I think they're going to, unless Iger comes in and says, no, you're not, then I think we're probably going to see a season 2. I would be super shocked if we weren't. But then again, crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
All right. let's go ahead. Anything crazy happening in the world right now, or the country? I can't really remember. Um, but oh, I will say R.I.P. to Jane Goodall.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Jane Goodall,
Mhm.
TV presenter, absolutely insane. I don't really have all her accolades. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here, but you know, obviously huge in uh animal awareness, you know, animal preservation, stuff like that. Contributed to actual science, actual policy getting changed in like the 70s and 80s and stuff, not
Mhm.
even just here, but like across the globe on hunting practices too. And honestly, this one, it was weird because it's like there when Robert Redford died, you know, I think about 3 weeks ago at this point, there's that list, you know. I feel like when people die, you like immediately go to the next couple people that you think about in that like age bracket.
Yeah.
And just 3 weeks ago, hers was one that came up in my brain that I was like, oh yeah, she's still around. Like good, like, you know, she's somebody that I'm like, is she still alive? And I looked it up 3 weeks ago, and it's like, so when I saw that today, I was just like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, obviously, you know, sad to see go. I believe the Easter eggs in both Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, which is, you know, awesome. RIP Jane Goodall, you were real. All right. Is there anything else? I can't really think. Is there any like there was no big trailer or anything? Did you see the trailer for Star Wars Visions for season
No,
3?
I did not.
See it either. I didn't see it either. Um, okay, last question. Did I talk about Marvel Zombies last
You
week?
didn't. Oh, you didn't talk about like you watching it or anything, but
Oh, okay. Okay, then real quick. Um, okay, yeah, let me do this because I'm just gonna clip this out. Real quick, Marvel Zombies. I loved it. I
okay.
thought it was fantastic. Nando V Movies or the Nando Cut. He has two different channels. Travis Mitchell, welcome. Travis Mitchell, how are you doing? Good. We just talked a little Alien Earth that I'm about halfway through with. TJ is deciding whether he wants to jump back in to kind of give it a second chance. But we are talking about Marvel Zombies right now. And to me, I think it's been really, really great. Nando V Movies, one of his channels, he put out a video all about it, and he just made this really great point that it's really like the Phase 4 Avengers movie that we never
Mhm.
got. Like
Okay.
if they could make an Avengers movie that was a zombie virus and somehow reverse it at the end.
Yeah.
You know, however, obviously maybe that storyline isn't very practical for live action. But seeing characters like John Walker and Kamala Khan interact, seeing characters like Blade and you know, Valkyrie
Mhm.
interact. Slight spoiler, seeing characters like Valkyrie and Khonshu interacting together, you know,
Yeah.
as these two, you know, thousands of years old beings who know each other. Honestly, things like Thor and Wanda fighting. What does that
Mhm.
look like in an all-out powers going to the crazy limits? There's some crazy showdowns in this, like Icarus versus Captain Marvel is like all of this stuff that I would love to see in live action. These characters fight each other, like, and they're doing it here. And obviously that's easy to do once it's like you have all these cool pieces on the board. But I think that to me is the best thing to come out of this is I'm like, man, I love all of the pieces that are on the board right now separately. And so when I see things, you know, like Katie from Shang-Chi, you know, interacting with Zemo, like
Yeah.
that, like that, you know, just those fun things that it's like any of this stuff could happen in live action in a more, you know, live action appropriate Avengers story. Um,
Oh.
just feels so great when they interact together.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I again, kind of like going back to the Alien Earth discussion, the ending was I was a little bit out on the ending of just
Yeah.
because I hope if we never go back, it's gonna be one of those endings that's like, well, what could have been or where we could have gone with that. But overall, I really, really liked it, and I loved Iman Vellani as like the kind of lead performance in this. I thought she did a great job holding it down as this kind of really great Miss Marvel story. Just it's the whole thing is about Miss Marvel's journey through it. She is like fully the point of view character, so that stuff was just awesome. But yeah, big surprise, like an hour and a half. Really, really recommend it. It's on all of it's out right now. And yeah, Travis Mitchell said episode 2 of Zombies was probably the best episode. Overall, very fun. Yeah, that's the other thing, is it is an overarching story. But each episode is its own kind of story as well. It's kind of self-contained while going on this journey from one thing to the next. And yeah, episode 2 was definitely a lot of fun. All right, let's move on here to the main event. And that is, of course, Peacemaker season 2, episode 6. TJ, I got the notes pulled up here in our notes section if you want to go there. Basically, I want to go take us through. I just rewatched the episode just now. I definitely, full spoilers for my opinion real quick. You said, I hope I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think this is the best episode of the season so far. Kind of not even close. Although watching it again, it's one of those episodes that it really puts, it's one of those things that I think the slower nature of the first few episodes is already proving why it was so important, with like lines like, you know, calling back to the party on the rooftop, calling back to, you know, the different discussions that he's had with Adebayo, that he's like, you know, I've already thought about all this. I want to leave, that kind of stuff. But basically we see our, what's left of our 11th Street kids, reactivating the portal, going through the portal, to try and find Chris kind of hiding out in, Earth 2 Peacemaker's house, with everybody there. Then we see Keith come in and have kind of an interesting scene with him and our Harcourt, which is fun. And then kind of some more antics with Eagly and everything throughout the house, for Adebayo and for John, that we will get to. Then we see Vigilante going on his kind of side quest to go and find the other him, which we see, you know, him do, and we see them meet and have their little Spider-Man moments. Obviously we see them going through the portal and everything like that. And then we get some Rick Flag stuff this episode that is up to some shenanigans with a big guy. And this is, again, spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Boom. We get Lex Luthor himself in this episode with Rick Flag going, listen, it's not even really about Peacemaker anymore. We got to get our hands on this technology. I have a reason that it's going to become apparent. He tells Flurry that it's important to the future of society, whatever that could mean. And then we get this nice scene with Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. And then back on Earth 2, or back on Earth X, we see our Amelia going into Argus, getting arrested for having the cocaine from Vigilante's basement on her. And then we have her and Chris having this big blowout scene, finally kind of I wouldn't even say the full, but the start of the emotional release for this whole storyline that we've been building now for basically 2 seasons. And then right after that scene, we go back to Vigilante 1 and 2, where Vigilante 2 reveals that Peacemaker is, quote, the worst, and that he is his sworn enemy. So we get that something is going on there. And then we jump right over to, let's see, again, Adebayo leaving the house to go for a walk, which is not going to be good, because then we see Keith coming down the road and comes out and screams something that I will not repeat here, but we are definitely going to talk about a lot in this review. And then that leads us to another revelation here with the Earth 2 Amelia coming in and arresting our Amelia, as Chris realizes that the American flag is not what it seems to be. And we are left with the image of Keith and everybody else chasing Adebayo through the streets of this evergreen that maybe isn't so evergreen after all. So TJ, where do you want to go first? We can talk about anything. We can go characters, plot wise, anything. Where do you want to go first? Or how did you feel about the episode and the ending and everything? How did it hit you?
Like I said to you, I think I watched it like the same day it came out or same night, and you couldn't watch it for like a few days, but I didn't say much, but I was like, I think this is probably the best episode of the season. Like, I don't even think it's probably that close, honestly, if you were to go back and watch every other episode leading up to this.
Yeah.
And I thought everything that, came together and what we've been building up to really worked well. Even the big twist, like we all kind of knew where it was going. I think it was kind of called out like weeks ago. But it still worked. Like there was still enough tension, and the way they built it up, I thought was really, really good. And like I said, even though we all kind of knew what was going to happen, it was still satisfying to like see like what the end result was.
Yeah.
Obviously terrible, but like, you know what I mean? Like, just like there's things that could be like, it's like, oh, we guessed like weeks ago, and then the reveal kind of happens, and it could be like, oh man, like, I called that already, but this just was built up so well, I thought.
Yeah.
Where I kind of wanted to start was Chris and Amelia's like conversation in the, like, I don't even know what it was,
In
like
the little like
conference room
detention
or whatever,
room.
or detention, yeah, whatever. Like their discussion, like they kind of picking up on their discussion from the park. I think it was either an episode or 2 episodes ago, before he was kind of arrested.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like a great continuation, and just like the emotion that was pouring out of both of them, I thought was pretty obvious and clear and just really nice to see.
Yeah.
And just to hear like Harcourt say like, just like, not that she doesn't like want to be with him or anything, but it's like she doesn't like right now, she doesn't like love herself. So like, how can I allow somebody else to be with me and love me? And I think we kind of get like, I think there's like some mention of Rick Flag in there as well, where it's like we didn't really
like, why
know.
didn't you tell me? Yeah.
Right. But we also like didn't really know, like we knew they were friends, but like we didn't know like where the relationship was there. Yeah. Right. And it seems to be that like maybe he liked her more than she was kind of into him, and it wasn't like the most mutual thing in the world, kind of.
Yeah.
But I thought like that whole scene was like awesome. And I actually like, it was sad for me when it ended, because I was like, I want to see more of this like conversation. And then obviously they're like interrupted when they let her go. But yeah, I thought that was probably like my favorite scene of the episode. Maybe my favorite scene of the series, like the season.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super moving. I mean, like I said, I just watched it. So I mean, it was cool rewatching it after, because I listened to the Peacemaker podcast that they do with Jennifer Holland, Steve Agee, and James Gunn.
Yeah.
Forgot the third guy. But anyways, it was cool because he had the cinematographer on for this episode, and they talked about how on the stage or even in camera work, there is like the line between actors in a scene where you could have 2 subjects and they can move in and out and they can move up and down and stuff, but you don't really want them to walk in front of the camera, that kind of thing. And they were talking about how they wanted to purposefully break that. And so that's why it's handheld camera, was so that they could then break the line, but then immediately reposition the camera to like a new framing once it's kind of, we're in Chris's perspective when we're listening to Amelia, and then we're in Amelia's perspective when we're listening to Chris. And knowing that, hearing that it was almost like a notes on a scene or something from like GQ.
Right.
Knowing that and then rewatching the scene, I just appreciated it so much more, that it's like, it's just the writing. It is just one of those scenes. And again, this episode written and directed by James Gunn. And honestly, I feel like you can feel it, nothing against Greg Mottola or any of the other great directors that have come in and I think have done a great job. I just think this is maybe a circumstance of like, he is just the material is just so personal that it's never going to be better than when it's in his hands.
Right.
And maybe that's not true. I mean, Greg Mottola has done great episodes. The one last year, with the, all the butterflies going to the police station and stuff, that was fantastic. But James Gunn, I think, being back in the director's chair for this, you feel it behind the camera. And I feel like that scene, I feel like that scene is like the core of this really great episode that's like all built around it. Cause it's like,
right.
it's the two of them. You feel the 2 seasons worth of buildup of this. They were in the movie, but knowing both of them in the movie, but then seeing their relationship build in the 2 seasons of this show, along with the chemistry between the actors, along with just how far these actors have come in these roles in this show, in their career in between the 2 seasons, mix that with all this great like camera work that's going on, and the show just looks phenomenal. He's doing the whole thing in a freaking Peacemaker superhero outfit,
right?
Like, and then the scenes right before it and the scenes right after it with them of okay, we had this moment, we're gonna move on. Boom, she gets other Amelia's there, and the whole thing's blown. And where are we gonna go next? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not just the fact that you had this great scene; it's the fact that you had this great scene, and then we actually ratcheted it up more from there to end the episode with that, with the 2 of them, or the 3 of them, I should say. Also, you could very much tell that they probably only paid Joel Kinnaman for either 2 or 3 episodes, because he is in none of these shots of Argus. It's like, he is only going to appear in the episodes that he is in. And I'm assuming, obviously, he's going to be in the finale, but maybe we'll get him next. Do you think we'll get Rick Flag Jr. next week, or probably just the finale?
Maybe just the finale. I don't really know where he would kind of slot in.
Maybe he's the son of Liberty.
Possibly.
That could be interesting. Yeah, that could be interesting. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about this fella right here, Adrian Chase. As I know him, Josh Segura from Arrow, played wonderfully here by Freddie Stroma. Obviously, we get the Spider-Man meme moment, everything like that, but we've been kind of waiting for Vigilante's kind of spotlight, you know, to come in this season. And I think this episode has many great things. And I think another great thing it does is it really gives him a huge spotlight kind of throughout this whole episode. The whole thing is based around his house is where they're moving the portal to. We get introduced to his mom. We get the great sequence of him going back to his house and kind of discovering all the differences,
right?
Including the fact that his dad is not gay, or at
right.
least I saw somebody say, well, he's just still hiding it. So, which I thought that was funny. He just never broke through. But and then obviously all that leads to him kind of looking around their house and then finding his other room and his other self, and then them kind of broing out and then having that big buildup of conversation leading up to the reveal that, you know, Peacemaker is his, or he views Peacemaker as his arch enemy. So what did you think about all this stuff with Adrian, with Vigilante, with the room, the cocaine, the money, the everything?
Right. Yeah,
and
I thought
get him in the suit.
Yeah, I thought leading up to like going to the other, like, and opening the portal, going to the other dimension, I thought all that was great. I thought the bit with like his mom, like before they go into the garage, I thought was really funny. And again, like that's the one like per episode that we keep talking about where it's like that's the joke. And that one I didn't feel the length. It kept going, even though it kept going, and everything I pretty much laughed at, I would say.
Yeah.
So obviously, again, there's a big difference when it's like, you know, it keeps going and it's like, okay, well, I stopped laughing like 10 seconds ago and it's still going. But this one is just like, it just kept going. I thought the comment about like, what is it about Harcourt? And she's like, he called her like a slut or something, like something.
He was lying that Harcourt was his girlfriend.
Right. That's what it was. Yes. Yeah. I thought all that was really funny. I thought them like opening the door, he has like all this money and these drugs and them like taking the money, like, that was hilarious. And he always like, he's so good at like playing it off like it's like, yeah, you guys don't have this like in your you know, around your house.
Everything just feels so natural coming out of his mouth, which is so funny because he's English, but it's not even about the accent. It's just he feels like such a real person, which is so weird.
Yeah. And then like you said, in the next dimension, just, you know, walking through looking for his house in that dimension, I thought was all really cool. You know, him pointing out the differences as he's walking throughout his house.
The Cheerios.
It's
slightly different.
And then seeing himself, I thought all that was cool. That whole conversation was really cool. And I think we'll get more of the realization kind of in this next episode. But like when he's like, oh yeah, Peacemaker, he's like my best friend. He's like, and then like his alternate self is like, he's your best friend. Like, what are you, crazy? Like he's a, you know, and to me, he's like a psychopath or whatever. I thought all that like worked really, really well. And yeah, like you said, this was kind of like his big coming out party for this season, because up until this point, it was kind of subdued for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that's a good way to put it, like a big coming out party for him. Because, yeah, he finally puts the suit on. We get 2 of him. There's just so much stuff. And then not only that, but again, just like we were talking about the hardcore thing, it's not only the fact that we got such a great episode with him, we know it's only going to get more and better from here, because it's like we know that these 2 are going to get on the same page, and that we're going to have these 2 vigilantes in this fight. We know, I mean, our vigilante doesn't, or sorry, Earth 2 vigilante doesn't know her, but as soon as they find out that Adebayo is threatened in any way, Chris and Adrian both they're gonna lose their mind. Like, you know what I mean? They are gonna go absolutely like ape shit on all these people. And again, I think it's, you know, I think we're gonna have to see Chris, you know, kill 2 people who he's killed before again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that like going forward. I think I might, just thinking about it more, I feel like maybe that might not be in the cards for the season, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's very interesting. I want to know what you're talking about there. Okay. Who do we want to go to next? Let's talk about Akana Goat. So this guy has been having, honestly, a great season. Like, if it meant that, if James Gunn felt, okay, we focus so much on Vigilante in the first season, we're going to dial back Vigilante and kind of dial up Economos, at least in this first stretch of the season. Honestly, even though it was slower, I loved it. I mean, I loved this guy, and I loved when he showed up, and I've mentioned it every week that we reviewed Peacemaker this year, by the way. I loved it when he showed up in Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods. You know, I was like, oh my God, it's Economos. You know, I was so happy to see him. And Harcourt. I think that they're both such a compelling Phil Coulson, which, you know, in my opinion, Sasha Bordeaux, she's not there, but we got some more interesting stuff with her this week as well. But Economos has been holding it down. We see him, you know, nervous about the door. Then we see them going through, obviously, after they get doused in the Coke, let's say the Coca-Cola, in the basement there. And then obviously he's kind of going around the house. He is talking a lot, rewatching it again. He is talking a lot about how nervous he is about White Dragon, which does make sense with what he went through in the season 1 finale of direct involvement with him in that fight. And it basically, his fears manifest, and this is where we ended with the episode getting attacked by the Blue Dragon himself.
I laughed very hard when he threw the can at his head.
Yeah, that was like, it's funny, but it's also one of those things that it's like, it is kind of scary, because it's like, you know, he like it shows that, you know, however much beer Robert Patrick maybe has drank in his life, that it might be more apparent now than ever. That guy can still run, and that guy can still move. And I very much took him as a credible threat with that knife. I was like, oh crap. And honestly, I gotta say, when it had the top down shot and he's screaming and he's like, you know, I'm with another Peacemaker and he killed your son and then has been living as your son and he's not really your son. I believe that, man. Like, I think Steve Agee is showing, you know, in a small way, in his own way, that like he's really great in this role. I think just as much as like you know, Jennifer Holland, he's a great I don't want to say that a 57-year-old man is a revelation, because, you know, he's been acting for a long time, but he is just another great find in this show. Of just taking one of these actors who, you know, has popped up in Guardians movies and other James Gunn things. And I know, me personally, I knew him probably first from Superstore, because he was just in the cast of Superstore in I think season 2 and season 3. But man, he is just so great this season. What were your thoughts on Economos throughout this? And where do we think we end with what he tells Augie And not only that, where we end it, where Augie is still standing over him with holding the knife.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, obviously, this next episode, what happens to him.
Yeah.
Very scary. Like I said, I thought it was very funny when he got, and he was the one kind of begging everybody not to leave the house as well.
Yeah.
So him kind of getting trapped really, obviously, really sucks
Yeah,
for him.
Adebayo even said, she was like, it's safer than in here.
Right, exactly. So like I said, I thought that was really funny. I think he the one who, when I think Vigilante like waves to the alien when they're like walking through the dimension, or he says, I forgot what he says, but he's like, how do you know that's what that means in his language? Like that could mean like screw you, or it's like, you know, something like ridiculous. I thought like all that was really funny. But yeah, like you said, he's kind of had like a slow, like not a slow burn, but like a more to do, I would say, I guess, in this season. And I feel like every episode I've enjoyed the performance, and I always laugh as well when he's on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see, like I said, I'm interested to see what happens in the next episode for him. I don't think he's like gonna die or anything, but I definitely felt like he was in peril. Like, I mean, he got stabbed through the freaking hand, so
yeah,
obviously
that's his coding hand.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought all that was great. I'm surprised actually we didn't see
Judo Master.
Yes,
that's who I was just thinking about. And what do you think's going on with that? Do you think he's been?
He must be like. I think he just might be wandering around the dimension, like in that space, because he doesn't know like he came in. I think a little later than Chris, and let's just assume Chris already had walked through the door, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like Judo Master would know that code. So in my head, I'm like, maybe he's just like wandering around,
trapped in there.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, they left the portal open, so I think we're gonna see I think we're gonna see all of Team Argus go to Earth X. I think that'll happen, and I think maybe they'll be the ones to find Judo Master and maybe bring him back in the story. If that's my theory, if Judo Master is not already in Earth X, if he is in Earth X, I think it's very possible that we start the next episode just jumped forward, and that Adebayo is in whatever prison or whatever it is that that one of them escaped from, in Keith's words. And I think that maybe if she gets locked up, maybe we'll see the Judo Master is already there and has been locked up.
Yeah, that could be it.
But yeah, but great point on the fact that he doesn't know the door combination, so he would have had to have like run straight after Chris to actually get in there. But yeah, but either way, I do think since they left the door open, I do think we're going to see at least Bordeaux and Fleury go through the portal.
But yeah. So kind of pivoting, what did you think of like seeing like Nicholas Hoult just kind of for 5 minutes in this show? And I thought it all worked really well. It flowed. Like you always know somebody's gonna show up from somebody we've seen, when it's like, oh, let me call that guy, but they don't call him by his name. It's just like, let me go see that guy and wherever.
Tell him to get the prisoner ready.
Right, exactly. And then I don't know did you see like the preview too for this coming episode?
No, I have not.
Okay, man, I won't say anything then.
If it's I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
people have been saying that is it Otis and the glasses guy? Is that
they're talking to another prisoner or something. And
okay.
They show it from like his neck down, so you don't know who it is. There was people saying it might be Ultraman, which
the Belle Reve detention officers got him from the black hole.
Yeah, which that was my other thought. I was like, doesn't make any sense. Like, how the hell would they have to explain that?
I feel like if it's another prisoner, I feel like you're just as likely to. I feel like you're just as likely. It's just as likely that it would be somebody from the Suicide Squad. Like that could be another cameo, is bringing somebody back from that movie.
Yeah,
I would say.
Did Stallone die?
Still alive. No, King Shark lived.
Oh yeah, he was King Shark, right? Never mind. I was thinking of his Guardians character.
Honestly, there's not really anybody left. I feel like maybe Could it be Bloodsport?
I think the guy was white.
Okay.
So,
well, then I got nothing because
I think he was.
There's
I
no
could be
white
wrong.
guys left from the Suicide
Okay,
Squad.
I
I'm
don't
looking
know.
at the poster; they're all dead.
Maybe like the guy with the glass. Could it be like guy with glasses from Superman, like one of his henchmen or something?
Oh yeah, like an
know.
accomplice or something like
The guy
that.
had a really low voice. I think like it was a voiceover kind of, so it could be it could be misdirection, but
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. So
yeah, that'll be interesting to see who the hell that might be. But yeah, overall, Lex, I mean, I thought, do I miss the Hans Zimmer Junkie XL Lex theme with the violin from the Snyderverse? Yes, I do. But was I happy to hear John Murphy's also awesome Lex Luthor music? Yes, I was. So I was super happy with that. I like the cane, like he's still recovering from all of his crypto injuries. I liked that, and I just liked the rhythm and flow of his Lex. I just loved seeing Nicholas Hoult back. Overall, this is like, I kept saying that it's like this scene is promise fulfilled. This is like, we're doing a new DCU. It's going to be connected. We're going to think about it, and things are going to flow from one project to another. It's not necessarily going to be required that you see every single thing, but if you want a little bit of, what's going on in the universe, we're going to touch on broader things in every project. And that's exactly what this is. I think it literally sets up Man of Tomorrow so well. It's insane. And then it's like, you could talk about the scene and its piece in this show, and then you could talk about the scene itself. And I also enjoyed the scene itself. I thought the dialogue was great. I thought that I loved that he was, feeling like he had the upper hand and all this, and then, you're gonna come on my terms, General. We're gonna figure this out, and then once I'm happy, then I'll consider helping you. And he's like, I don't even know if I want your help. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, what's the problem? Like, he's like, it's like, he's like, oh, he's so narcissistic that like once Flag, classically rejects him, now he's, all right, well, what can I do for you? And then also I like the scene with Bordeaux and Flag after that with, what did you give? What did you promise him? And he's like, not really, not much. And she says, well, what else? And he goes, well, other than the thought that was great, and I'll be interested to see if Lex comes back at all before the end of the season. But overall, just the absolute, like, Superman ends, take his bald ass to Belle Reve, and then now here he's getting transferred to some lower security prison. We're already seeing him move. This is also another chess piece in whatever Lex Luthor's main goal is in this whole universe. And it's like, in 10 years, when it's this huge long arc with Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, you're going to look back and go, oh yeah, remember when the first place he showed up, before he was in Supergirl, before he was the villain in The Authority, he showed up in that episode of Peacemaker, remember? And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'll be so happy about, is like, when Endgame came out, being like, well, do you remember that Tony was actually in The Incredible Hulk? You know what I mean? It's like one of these little scenes that just make the universe feel connected right out of the gate, and I loved it. But yeah, anything else on Lex? Do you think we'll see Lex again, or is this just a one and done?
I think it's probably a one and done. Like you said, I think it kind of flowed very well in the episode. And like you said, if you didn't watch Superman yet or whatever, like, you don't necessarily have to have watched it, but they leave enough in there in that dialogue that you can kind of connect the dots. Because we obviously, at this point in the show, again, if you haven't watched Superman, we know what the kind of dimension portal is.
Yeah,
we've been watching it for the past 6 episodes, so again, you can kind of just take your context clues and kind of connect that all together.
Yeah.
There's something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, let's talk about like Adebayo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's talk. Let's go Adebayo right into the end with everything with Keith, and then we'll talk a little bit about where we might be going next. So, Yeah, Adebayo, again, another person, kind of both these guys on the screen right now. You could argue Adebayo, Vigilante kind of had the lighter load when it comes to kind of screen time and storyline this season so far. But I'll tell you one thing I really loved was seeing her interact with Vigilante's mom. She's just such a, whatever might be going on in her personal life with like this business isn't going where she wants it to, her marriage has basically fallen apart. She doesn't really feel like she has much left, but her taking the time to be so nice and so open and like bubbly with Adrian's mom, I thought was really, really cool to see. And then, yeah, she has this scene with Eagly, and then we kind of get the big moment at the end. How did you feel about what we got with Adebayo? Because honestly, throughout this episode, still wasn't really that much that she personally had to do or got to do, but we're definitely obviously going to some pretty big places with her for the last 2 episodes here. So what were your overall thoughts on Adebayo in this episode, and then leading up to that shocking end scene?
Yeah, like you said, I don't think she had all that much to do in this episode, but she's also kind of like the glue, like part of the glue, I would say, holding like the whole group together at this point. And then obviously when she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go walk around, I'm not gonna stay in this house. I think we all kind of, again, like I said, we all kind of know what's gonna happen, but we know something's gonna happen.
You feel it in the air.
Right, exactly. And leading up to that moment, I thought was like, it was just like obviously it was just terrifying. Like,
it was so tense.
Like and when she's like walking down the street, like you look around and it almost feels like this kind of like, this is gonna sound so stupid, but like it almost feels like this kind of like Nuketown-esque, like when Indy like goes to the thing and he like runs into the house.
I was gonna say like the Edward Scissorhands town.
It just felt like very like
staged.
What's the word? Yeah, like yes. Yeah. So I like that kind of adds to the uneasiness. And something we kind of skipped on to is just like when oh my god, what's his brother's name?
Keith.
When Keith's driving Harcourt to Argus, and Harcourt's like looking around, and and they're kind of throwing in these differences. Like I think at one point he says, "Oh, who's your favorite Beatles member?" And I think she says somebody. He goes, Mick Jagger. And she's like, Mick Jagger? He's like, yeah, Mick Jagger of the Beatles. Yeah. Like something like that. And it's like, okay, that's weird. And then she's like looking around, and I don't know if she drives by the mural or not.
I don't think she sees the mural, but she sees all the
but like she's like obviously like examining her surroundings, and she is doing the same thing that everybody else was doing a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
When Chris was there and everybody's like looking in the background, like, wow, there's a lot of white people here. And that kind of builds to that moment with Adebayo. And like I said, I thought it was just executed very well. And terrifying, just when she like takes off running, and you just see these like 20 people like start chasing her down the street. Very, very scary.
Yeah, somebody you get obviously this scene that kind of precedes it with you see that one woman drive past and kind of make an ugly face, and then she quickly pulls into a driveway and like runs into the house like terrified. And then Keith is the next car, and he has this terrible, one got out is the phrase, not one way out, one got out, which is, such a simple, tiny line that is so kind of scary, because it's like, what does that imply? Like, what one got out of what? Of where? What do you mean by one? And I mean, I know what he says next, but which is just crazy. But again, David Denman, really, really great choice for this role. And then you get this terrifying final visual of the episode as she is, literally camera cuts to her side profile running for her life, which is just crazy. But I think you really hit the nail on the head when you talk about it. It's like, it really is nothing that a lot of us didn't think we were gonna get, but it's the fact that And I did see James Gunn was on a podcast, and he was like, yeah, we wrote that. I wrote it that way, like intentionally, that he's like, once you see it, everybody's going to be talking about it. So he's like, it
Right.
wasn't about preserving the secrecy of it. It was about preserving the tension. And I felt like the tension, like we all knew what was going to happen as soon as she talked about the walk and leaving the house and stuff. But it was about, well, how is it going to happen? Who is it going to happen with? What's the nature of it happening? Like, how is this going to be revealed? Is this going to be violent? Is this going to be scary? Is it whatever? And it ended up being, a little violent with what's kind of implied, but just more fear-based of,
Right.
how scary this could be. I mean, somebody referred to all the people running out of their houses that it's almost like a reverse zombie movie where it's like the zombies that are running after you are just the normal people.
Right.
And I just, that visual was great. And I thought that Danielle Brooks did a great job with that fear. And I thought that David Denman did a great job with the, like, flipping on a dime. This person who's like, we have been introduced to Keith in every single scene as nothing but like a kind of goofy, kind of doting, older brother who's just kind of, going about the house, just kind of broing out all the time. And he's a superhero, you know what I mean? And to see this switch was just it made it that much more impactful and that much more effective.
What do you think this kind of, and this obviously leads to Chris and Argus like flipping the American flag and it's a swastika in place of the stars. What do you think that like says about him, his like character? Like, I feel like, and it's kind of going back to the title, like Ignorance is Chris, is like, he just was so oblivious to literally every other thing that is wrong with this universe, just because for him it's perfect, and not really caring about anything else. I think that's like a kind of just like a dangerous, like, again, I like, no, you can't operate that way where it's just like you are living solely for you. And you always have to be mindful of people around you and how whatever you do, like, it obviously affects others. And I feel like that's something obviously some people lack in the world today.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think for sure. And I honestly think it's less for me about, are they going to tackle that? Because like, is the show going to go there? I think the show would definitely go there. My thing would be like, do we have enough time to go into that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is, they do kind of make mention of it where he kind of says under his breath, he's like, what? No way. He's like, he doesn't say I would have noticed, but that's the face he makes as he goes, what? No, like, what are you talking about when she says that? And then it's like, it kind of all starts to click with him. So I think my gut tells me, I think it'll be just more of like it's a guilt that he's going to have that he's just got to like think about, because I think it's going to be more based on, because here's the thing is that, and I guess we can go into kind of talking about what we think is going to happen next before we wrap up here, is they're not going to solve racism on Earth X. You know what I mean? Like I want your opinion on, do you think this is just, we got to get Chris and just get the hell back to the other side of the door? Or is this something that, they have that door? They have the ability to go through that door from their own end. So is this like, we have to destroy their door? Like, is this about, are we creating world peace on Earth X? Are we just getting the hell out of there? Are we breaking all of the minorities out? Like, where do you think this season is going in terms of just basically its plot of the overall season before we get into even like where the characters are going? Like, what do you think the actual goal is going to be?
I think you'd be hard pressed. I can't see them doing that. Like, I think right now the goal is just to get back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and obviously like rescue Adebayo, and I think if like that, if like you said, if we see this episode that Adebayo like ends up in some sort of prison or whatever, I think if it's in, if that's kind of like the way of things where it's like, by rescuing Adebayo, we can just free all these other people, then that, but I don't think we're going to go out of our way to like, because assuming that there's like, let's just assume there's prisons all over the world, or
Yeah.
like all over the United States, whatever. You know, I don't think they're gonna go to each one and do all that. You know,
Yeah.
um,
It'll probably be, now that we're talking about it, it'll probably be like they'll all get back through and Vigilante will yell out to the other Vigilante like, keep fighting the fight or something. He's like,
right,
well, you can't believe how much you helped us.
yeah,
Like we'll get there.
right,
It's gonna be something like that where it's like
right,
some hopeful element, and maybe Rick Flag Jr. is part of the Sons of Liberty and is a good guy, and maybe it's the two of them together as
hmm,
Vigilante. So that way, it's like Rick Flag Jr. and Vigilante are buddies and like sidekicks to each other and are partners in
yeah,
this world fighting the good fight. And then, Vigilante and Peacemaker. It's like, again, I think that would be cool to kind of keep the two sides of the same coin with Vigilante or with Peacemaker and Rick Flag Jr. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, now let's talk a little bit about the characters. Where do we think we are ending up with, you know, obviously a little less to talk about with like Economos and like Adebayo and stuff like that and Vigilante, but really, where do you think we are going with Chris and Amelia for these last two episodes?
yeah. I think Chris and Harcourt, they're still gonna obviously have some issues. I feel like they're obviously we're gonna be like working together to get out of here.
Yeah.
But you know, I think this is something that'll keep going. I don't think it's like some sort of relationship that you can mend in 2 episodes. I could be wrong. I don't know. They could pull something out of their a rabbit out of the hat and just like everything works and you know
Yeah.
we end up like together or something like that. I was saying earlier, like as far as like Chris and like his brother and his dad, like Tim, and I know I had said this like a few weeks ago where I was like, oh, maybe like he'll have to like, man, he'd have to kill him again. Like he'd have to kill him again. That'd be brutal.
Oh yeah, I
But
want to hear. Yeah.
I also don't like, I don't think that's gonna solve anything. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna end what this world is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like they're like, well, maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they're the supreme rulers of the world. I don't know. That could be it.
Yeah. Do you think we're gonna get like a, you know, welcome to the detention center. Here's
Yeah.
why our
Here's your
world is like this. Like,
right.
do you think we're gonna get like a TVA explainer,
Yeah.
kind of video? I
That
feel like we must.
it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, I don't think I would be shocked if it's like these are your supreme rulers, like this trio,
Yeah, and it's
Peacemaker and
Augie
you know
Smith.
Augie and yeah.
Yeah.
Um so in that case, if it is like that, then I'd be like, oh, maybe he does kill them, and that kind of sets the
Yeah.
world right in a way.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I don't see how that would like fix anything. Maybe he just has to do it out of necessity to like so they can get back, or free
Yeah.
Adebayo. Maybe Adebayo's trapped in their house or something. I don't know. Um, but as of right now, I'm just kind of like I don't see the benefit.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't see the benefit of like it changing really anything
Right.
on that earth. But I definitely think, like you said, if it's something that Keith is preventing them from leaving, or if Keith does, I mean, quite honestly, I think that already what his dad did to Economos is like,
Right.
I think Peacemaker would kill him. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's like, I think already that's like too far. Um, especially if he does anything more to Economos. But I think you could see it be a situation where maybe it's like Chris's dad, or maybe Keith tries to defend Chris, and then maybe like their dad kills Keith or something like if
Yeah.
something crazy like that happens. But I could really see it going a lot of different ways, or I don't know. It is so up in the air right now with everything, and and it's the kind of up in the air where it's like I feel like they're gonna land it. Like you know what I mean? I feel like I'm not being like, I don't know, is this gonna work out? Where are we going with this? Like I feel like it's really more I'm really more in a truly innocent, like wide-eyed, like I feel like these next 2 episodes could go anywhere. And
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited about that. And I think that again, if a slow first half of the season gets us an incredible last, 3.5 episodes, then sign me up, because guess what? I like the first slow half a lot.
Right.
It just felt slower than last season, but it's like I by no means did not like those episodes. It just was slower. But definitely it seems like we are picking up a lot of speed with this show. Is there anything else we want to touch on before we head out? Anything that we missed? Did we really get much with like Bordeaux, or
Not really.
really? I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Don't really think so. We kind of got that one scene with her waiting outside for Rick Flag, but that's really kind of it.
I was trying to listen to the teaser again to like see if I could recognize the voice that I was talking about, but
nothing.
Nothing. The guy is white though, so
okay.
Do it that way.
Well, then, yeah, I really like literally every other white man on that poster is gone besides Peacemaker. he's the only.
Could it
one
be
left.
we're stealing, like, hey, David Ayer Suicide Squad, Boomerang?
Oh, Jared Leto Joker. Well, no, Boomerang's on.
Oh, Boomerang. Oh yeah, he was in the movie. Okay,
yeah,
he's done.
But let's see who else. Well, didn't they all die or no? El Diablo.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Didn't look like the guy had any tattoos, so
yeah,
maybe they changed.
Right, what he went like this, and he spelled out LOL.
Yeah,
and he said, "There you go."
Can you imagine if it was Jared Leto's Joker?
Was it a woman? Could it have been a woman?
Could have. It was a male. It was a male voice.
Yeah,
as the voiceover.
It could be like Katara.
Like I said, it could be
could
be a misdirection. I don't know.
Yeah.
But those are my only guesses.
Maybe it's Weasel. It could be anybody, but that I hope. The only thing I hope is that I hope it's in this episode.
Somebody from I forget who survived, but somebody from Creature Commandos. Anybody there?
Oh, could it be Clayface?
I don't think so.
I
think it would have to be somebody that has to do with any of this. Like, I can't see any of those people. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But we'll just have to see. But yeah, and luckily we won't have that long of a wait. And just so you guys know, also, also, anything else on Peacemaker this week?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, awesome episode. Really, really can't wait to see where it's going from here. Let us. Why does this do this? I really wish that they had like scene packages that you could just click one button and not change individual assets. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this week. Just so you guys know, they might be like, oh, they covered Gen V last week. Where is Gen V this week? Last week we covered Gen V on Thursday because it comes out on Wednesdays. Which is right now when we're doing the show. So we will be talking Gen V episode 5 and Peacemaker episode 7 both next week. There just was no Gen V for us to talk about this week because we already talked about it. So with that, that'll do it for me. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and please let us know your thoughts on Peacemaker.
I've been your other host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We will see you next time.